I really didn't know, I wasn't aware that this was abuse.
It was harrowing and it was so troubling that I just couldn't fathom how someone could treat another person that way.
These abusers, they kind of isolate you into a corner where I think you see them as some sort of like a knight in shining armor when they are actually exactly the opposite.
Emotional abuse. It's something that you've probably heard of, or possibly even experienced yourself. And those who know it firsthand know just how ugly it can get. This is episode 4 of How I Dealt With It, a podcast series about heartbreaks. And in this podcast, we are going to be listening to real women who've gone to hell and back after finding themselves with extremely unhealthy partners who subjected them to emotional abuse. We are also going to be explaining the things that comprise emotional abuse and the different ways in which it can manifest itself. I'm Divyani Rattanpal. Let's begin. She loved him and considered it her duty to please him whenever he asked her to. But he, instead of loving her body, voiced his disgust for it. When after pleasing him orally, she asked to be pleased in return, he would shout, "Oh, are you crazy? You have a f***ing catheter. I'm not putting my mouth near that thing." She was left aghast, but was too scared to say anything, because she believed that this kind of treatment is exactly what she deserved. That no one else would want to be with her, a disabled woman. You see, emotional abusers often try to pull their partners down by establishing themselves as somewhat superior people who are doing them a favor by agreeing to be in a relationship with them. And this is exactly what this man did to his disabled partner. "You're so lucky to have me," he would tell her. "Why would you say that?" she would ask. "Look at yourself. You're beautiful, no doubt. But who would do what I do for you? Lifting you, folding your wheelchair, picking you up from your house. Who would do all that? He would say with a smirk. If those words made you uncomfortable, the title of the story probably won't comfort you as well. It's titled, "My Abusive Ex Made Me Believe That No One Else Would Want a Woman Who Uses a Wheelchair." When I read the story on Point of View, which is an online platform featuring stories of sexuality and disability, I felt a lump in my throat. This was emotional abuse, I told myself. By belittling his partner, making her feel terrible about her disability, corroding her self-esteem, and denying her pleasure, this man was subjecting her to psychological harm that can take months and even years to heal. I read the story again and again and again, and on an impulse reached out to the woman who wrote it. Virali Modi is the author who wrote this story from the point of view of her friend. Her friend had wanted to remain anonymous, but also wanted her story to be told, so that others going through the intense experience of suffering from emotional abuse could relate to it as well. Just a bit about Virali Modi. She is a motivational speaker, runner-up of Miss India Wheelchair 2014, and a disability and gender rights advocate. And here's how my conversation with her went. Virali, what prompted you to write the story?
What prompted me to write this story is because it was very troubling. It was very troubling to me, and it was harrowing the way that my friend described everything to me in grave detail, which even I haven't mentioned. The grave detail in which she described everything to me, it was harrowing, and it was so troubling that I just couldn't fathom how someone could treat another person that way. I think something else that really hit me really hard is the way that this man led my friend to believe that she was worthless and that no one would want to be with her. Are people with disabilities or women or men, whatever your gender may be, whatever your sexual preference may be, it doesn't matter. An abusive relationship is an abusive relationship. But what is the limit? How far would a person go just to belittle someone? That is the biggest question that I have.
Really, possibly one of the reasons this could have happened is because deep down, your friend possibly believed that she, as a disabled woman, should put up with all that brash and entitled behavior and just be thankful that she at least had a man. After the relationship ended, is that something your friend has tried to unlearn from this experience?
She learned a lot from that relationship, and she decided that she was not going to revolve her life around that specific relationship, and she's going to date and she's going to meet people, and she's realized that if people don't want to accept her, that's their problem, it's not her problem. But yeah, I do think that just because men or women think that they're quote unquote flawed, we do settle for bad relationships, or we do get drawn into bad relationships.
Yes, being told that we are bad or unworthy of love is just plain horrible. Criticism is one thing, but being belittled because of the way you are is something entirely different, and most definitely accounts for emotional abuse. You want to know a sad truth about emotional abuse? That no one is immune from it. Even successful, smart, and powerful women have become trapped in such relationships. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon had opened up that she too had been in an emotionally abusive relationship. She'd been asked by Oprah what was the most difficult decision she'd ever made, and Reese had replied, "For me, probably it was leaving an emotionally abusive relationship." And then Reese added that she had managed to find the courage to leave when, quote, a line got drawn in the sand and it got crossed. She adds, "My brain just switched and I knew it was going to be very difficult, but I just couldn't go any further." She says, "I was a different person too. It changed who I was on a cellular level. The fact that I stood up for myself." Now I want to get the perspective of Meghna Pant, who is an established female author from India, and she too has been through emotional abuse and feels really strongly about the subject. For those who don't know Meghna writes about relationships and is the award-winning author of books like The Trouble with Women, Happy Birthday, and 1.5 She is also a popular columnist, feminist, and TEDx speaker. And we are going to be listening to her, but before I play that clip, I want to apologize to listeners for a bad audio. There was a lot of noise when we met Meghna, and we possibly could not have avoided it.
It's very interesting that women in abusive relationships don't even realize that they're being abused. And I'm saying this because I was in the same state. The man that I was with somehow convinced me that it was normal to hit a woman. And this process, I realized much later, is called gaslighting, which is somebody makes you not believe your own reality and truth. So you'll set up your living room in a certain way, and then when you come back home, the living room, everything is upside down, but the guy will tell you, no, it was always upside down, you had mistaken what it was actually like. And we women, when we are emotional beings, when we are in love, we are so hopeful. So when you're in an abusive relationship, the guy will gaslight you, he will make you question yourself, you will lose your sense of worth. I know that I used to feel like I'm not a good human being, I'm not worthy of anything, because that's what he made me feel like.
Now, for those of you who don't know, gaslighting is a classic emotional abuser tactic. You see, abusers want to gain power over you. So, even if you have legit concerns, they'll tell you your issues are insane. So, if you say something to them like, "Why are you flirting with that girl?" they'll say, "You're crazy to even think that I could be flirting." They can also withhold affection and make you feel terrible if you don't do things their way. Meghna would also like to advise women who want to get out of an emotionally abusive relationship.
You know, the first step for any woman is acknowledge the fact that you are in an abusive relationship, and this honestly takes the most effort. It's very difficult to come to the realization that the man you love so deeply is actually an abuser. It's a very, very difficult thought process to come to. But please be realistic, please be practical. Save yourself. If you have children, get them out of the house. Don't do it in front of him, because then he will get even more violent. Quietly slip away. Take all your jewelry, take all your cash, your credit cards, any cards that you have. Ask someone for help. Ask a friend, ask a therapist, ask your family. Go to NGOs who will support you if you don't have anyone. But get out of his line of sight so that he cannot abuse you or violently raise his hand at you. And once you're out of his sight, then take recourse. So I would say the minute a man raises his hand on you, it is an abusive relationship. Please don't give him a huge bandwidth. Don't be kind. This is not the kind of situation you want to be kind in. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve your love, because he doesn't respect you or love you.
Mind you, getting rid of an emotionally abusive relationship is easier said than done. The emotional abuser is like a leech. He will stick to you and just refuse to let you go. So even if getting out of such a relationship means involving all your friends, family, cops, just do it. And no matter how many lies or promises to change he makes, don't listen to them. Now, as I was searching for more women with raw truths to share about emotionally abusive relationships, I came across one by a woman. She is an actor and a writer, and she found the courage to speak about her ex-partner after finding out that not only was he an emotional abuser, but also somebody who allegedly harassed and manipulated multiple women. Shruti Chaudhary wrote that post on Medium, and in the post she mentions how her ex-partner belittled her, made her doubt her talent, and called her a silly prude because she objected to him having multiple sexual relationships with women. Eventually he ghosted her after feeding her lies that he will be with her after his divorce. In that post on Medium, Shruti had written, "You tried to break me, then fix me, then break me again." Those words sound so violent, as if someone is picking you up, throwing you to the ground, and then picking you up again. It can wreak anyone's self-esteem.
They actually attack your sense of self-worth, your self-esteem, your confidence in general, the way you perceive yourself. And I actually thought in that moment that this was the best that I could do, and that I was actually extremely lucky to have somebody like him. The tragedy of it is that it isn't who you are, it is what they have broke you down into. They take away your self-esteem and your confidence, and they attack you, and it's scary. It's so damaging. I think any sort of assault or abuse really leaves a deep impact.
Another thing, thinking we can change the abuser is one of the most dangerous lies we can tell ourselves. Honestly, giving a second chance to an emotional abuser is like willingly putting your hand in the mouth of a crocodile. Don't do it. He won't change. So even if he begs to have you back, do not listen. Just look the other way. Because darlings, the only way you can save yourself more damage from an emotionally abusive relationship is to just run, Forrest, run.